A great day today. Beautiful weather again here in Oxnard and Western Ventura County, as it always is. My name's Stephen Brown. I'm the General Manager of Gold Coast Transit. I'd like to welcome you and help us call attention nationally to the National Day for Transportation Infrastructure. Over 300 agencies and cities and companies nationwide are participating today. I've been getting tweets and text messages all day from around the country of events that are going on. And it's vitally important for us because the highway and transit policy expires in just 52 days. May 31st it ends, and beyond that we don't know what might happen. The Department of Transportation has sent a proposed new 6-year transportation bill called Grow America to Congress that is a $478 billion funding program that will take substantial steps towards helping rebuild and improve our nation's infrastructure. Today we can show our support for this proposal and support Congresswoman Brownlee as she goes back to Washington in her important role on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, as hopefully they'll consider this bill soon. We all know that the economic benefit from infrastructure investment yields at least $4 for every dollar expended. Real long-term job creation in public transportation comes with predictable funding so that agencies and businesses can do better long-term growth planning. At Gold Coast Transit District, we create and support local jobs. Today we're at our highest employment level ever with 190 employees. Our employees and their families eat in local restaurants, they go to the doctors and dentists here, we recreate locally, we attend movies, we do our shopping, we create the economy here in the county. Every month, over half of the vendors that we deal with buy goods from are local companies, many of those small businesses. Yesterday, this came to a point with me as I was signing our accounts payable checks to some 80 companies, some $600,000 worth of payments that go out monthly, over half of that to local companies. We're going to be asking our board to set a threshold as we begin construction of our new administration and operations facility this fall, of hiring local and giving local preference to the bidders to hire locally. Today I'm pleased to have a number of speakers here, and first I'd like to introduce Paul Platts, Chairman of our board and Mayor Pro Tem from the City of Ojai. Paul.
Thank you, Steve. First, let me thank everyone for being here this morning. It's a real pleasure to see everybody, particularly the Congresswoman and all the other dignitaries that are here. It's really my pleasure to speak on behalf of the board of Gold Coast Transportation District today. And we have two other board members that I'd like to introduce. We have Supervisor John Zaragoza, who's from the County of Ventura. John, thank you. And we have Brian McDonald from the City of Oxnard, who's on the council. Gold Coast Transit is proud to provide public transportation within the areas of Ventura County, as well as the cities of Ventura, Oxnard, Port Hueneme, and Ojai. We provide much needed mobility in our cities and rural communities. Gold Coast Transit is the exclusive mode of transportation for many of our riders, and as such, we truly consider all the employees of Gold Coast and all of our riders as our extended family. Today is an extremely important day. Gold Coast can't emphasize enough how important it is that Congress passes a new transportation bill that will ensure long-term funding for mass transportation. This will allow all transportation agencies to plan work and projects for the future. In addition, public transit and highway grants funded from the Highway Trust Fund cannot be made without the authorization bill. Therefore, we're calling upon Congress to pass the new Surface Transportation Authorization Bill before the current MAP 21 expires on May 31, 2015. It's very important that that be done, and with the help of our Congresswoman, we're hoping to get it accomplished. Gold Coast is on the brink of building our new administration and operations facility in Oxnard. This facility is a key piece of infrastructure. The future of our facility will allow Gold Coast to grow, provide more jobs, and implement vital new services for our residents. Financing is extremely limited, and our ability to place constraints on our expansion. Hence, it is important for long-term transportation funding bill to support these types of projects is very essential. As a small operator such as Gold Coast, the reinstatement of the discretionary component of bus and bus facility funding is critically important. And truly, federal funding of transportation programs supports growth, it supports investment, and most of all, it really supports jobs. Gold Coast strongly urges the U.S. Congress to enact a new multi-year authorization bill that provides dedicated funding for the Highway Trust Fund to pay for current federal transit programs and for the growth of programs for transit and highway infrastructure needs. We sincerely appreciate all the work that our Congresswoman, Julia Brownley, has done and continues to do in Washington. Her work on the House Transportation Committee is invaluable to our success, and we ask her to continue her hard work on gaining passage of the much-needed transportation legislation. Thank you again for being here. I hope to see you all on a Gold Coast Transit bus soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blatz. I really appreciate your comments, and he talked about some things that are so vitally important. I think today we chose this venue, the Oxnard Transportation Center, because it is truly a multimodal transportation center. You've seen our buses come and go this morning, and they'll continue to come and go. We have Amtrak bus service, VCTC intercity bus service, and we just saw a Surfliner train pull in. So that really highlights how important multimodal and all transportation modes are. And to further talk about that a little bit is Kristen Dekas, the CEO of the Port of Hueneme. Kristen?
Well, good morning, everybody. Today is certainly a day to make a difference. There's a shout going around our country that transportation matters. Can we hear it? Transportation matters. One more time, guys. Transportation matters. Transportation networks are critical to the economy of our country and also to our global competitiveness. We need this message to resonate in every American household, that so investment can be made in our transportation infrastructure and it becomes a higher priority. Americans' ports support 13 million jobs and $200 billion in federal, state, and local tax revenue. Here in Ventura County, our commercial seaport moves $8 billion in freight, creates a $1 billion economic impact, touches over 10,000 jobs, and brings $69 million in tax revenues for vital community services. But we can't succeed without the right infrastructure. We need our navigational water channels to be well maintained to bring the vessels in. Inside the gate, we need robust, effective infrastructure to stage and offload cargo. Outside the gate, we need effective transportation corridors to move the freight onto our highway systems, to ensure our railways are safe and have the right grade separations to protect our communities. If we make the called for investments in our country's ports and transportation corridors by 2020, we can grow as many as 3.5 million jobs. We can generate a $3,000 increase in annual household discretionary income by 2020 and $6,000 by 2040. If we fail to act, we stand to lose $3 trillion to our nation's economy by 2020. So what do we need to do? For one, from a port perspective, there's something called the harbor maintenance tax, where we collect up to $1.8 billion annually, but only half of that right now comes back to our ports. We need to see all of that money come back to our ports so we can maintain our channels and get the right appropriations. We also need a sustainable federal transportation bill, or Transportation Act, that supports all modes. We have local leaders here fighting hard for this every day, including our very own Congresswoman Julia Brownley. But we also need you. We need our citizens to understand that transportation matters, and today is a great day to get that message out. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Great comments, and it is vitally important. I love seeing car transports going south towards the port, taking American-made automobiles overseas. I think that's a great benefit, and I love seeing those going down Victoria Avenue. Also, next to talk to us and give us kind of a regional perspective and talk a lot about what's going on in Ventura County is Darren Kettle, the Executive Director of the Ventura County Transportation Commission. Darren?
Good morning, everybody. And as Kristen said, as all of the speakers have said, today is an important day for us to recognize the value and importance that transportation brings to all of our lives. And the fact of the matter is that in this country, we have been doing it bit by bit for the last 7 years. Last week, before my Transportation Commission, I mentioned the fact that in the last 7 years, we have had 32 short-term extensions of the federal transportation law. That's neither sustainable nor reliable funding for people like Steve Brown, myself, and any transportation professional to do their jobs and plan well. The California Business Roundtable has developed a jobs number that says every $1 billion of construction that goes on in the transportation industry generates 18,000 jobs. I can point to 3 projects in Ventura County that alone generate 18,000 jobs because they're $1 billion to construct. The widening of the 101 freeway, I think the absolute most critical economic corridor we have in Ventura County, and arguably along the Central Coast as you approach Southern California. That project alone is $800 million. The widening of the 118 freeway between Simi Valley and Moorpark, another $150 million. And of course, as Kristen mentioned, the Great Separation Project in Rice Avenue corridor connecting the 101 freeway to the Port of Hueneme is another $60 million or so. That is 18,000 jobs that are generated by $1 billion worth of three projects that we can't do at this point because they're not even on the drawing board. Fortunately, we have the 101-23 freeway project that is under construction right now, and we've just completed the widening of the 101 freeway between Ventura and Santa Barbara. But nothing else is on the drawing board. The only way we're able to get projects on the drawing board is to have a robust federal transportation law, something that is more than a matter of weeks or days, which we have encountered in the past, but one that looks out 6 years or longer that allows us to plan for a transportation system that this county and this region, Southern California in this country needs. If we're not standing up for transportation, who else will? I'm glad you're here standing up for it. I love the fashion statement that many of us are making, and I only wish I could have put a t-shirt on today, but I didn't think it was the right thing to do. Now I'm thinking otherwise because you look far more comfortable than the rest of us do. Thank you very much. We really do have an opportunity in that we have Congresswoman Julia Brownley in the catbird seat to support transportation investments, not just in Ventura County, but all over this country, and she's right here. Congresswoman Brownley, we are really privileged to have you representing us. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren, and I think we all would love to see 18,000 more jobs here in Ventura County. We're hoping to create a bunch of those when we start construction on our new operations and maintenance facility this fall. Another item that's available today, and I hope you'll pick up some, we've got little bookmarks over here that have pictures of our riders, our advocates, some of our board members that have stood up for transportation for a variety of different reasons. Please pick up a few of the bookmarks, and there's a website on here, sign the petition today. This is the way we all are going to let Congress know that this is important to all of us. Congresswoman Brownley can go back to Washington and relay what she saw today, that having a petition signed by several 100,000 people nationwide, hopefully millions, will really help bring home the word to Congress that this truly is a bipartisan issue. It's always been a bipartisan issue supported by everybody. And when I read things that tell me people on the Republicans and Democrats are talking about how to make this work, let's get it done, and let's hopefully do that. Now to give us a city perspective here in Oxnard, our home base, is the city manager, Greg Nyhoff. Greg?
Good morning. I'm sorry I missed all the other comments today, but as a city manager for over 25 years, I can't tell you how important the federal funding is to our local streets and to our commerce within our cities. I just happen to be, I'm late because I was getting my next year's budget and 10-year budget projections out there for our general fund, which would be what we'd have to use to subsidize these types of funds to keep our roads even partially maintainable. And our financial outlook in Oxnard is going to be very tight. It's going to be very strained. So without funds like this, our roads will continue to deteriorate. Our economic base, which is our jobs for all of you, for all of our community, our economic base that pushes the ability for us to have police, fire, roads, parks, our quality of life suffers. And so for years we've been looking for a long-term authorization of funding, and we certainly as a city want to support this 100% today. I'm sure that Councilmember McDonald is here with us today. Critically important to our community to see these funds come through. Funds have been dwindling in cities for years for transportation. If you drive some of the streets, and I've only been here 10 months, as I've driven, they are crumbling to a point you now have to replace them, which is millions and millions of dollars more because we're falling farther and farther behind. So without a doubt, stand up for transportation for all the cities, but especially for the city of Oxnard. So thank you too for all being there, and I want one of those t-shirts as well to wear. So thank you for being here, and let's really stand up for transportation. Let's make a difference.
Thank you so much, Greg, and great points that he brought up. Our buses drive on those streets every day, and I know our maintenance people would love to not have to do so many realignments and repair so many tires that are damaged by streets that unfortunately can't be afforded to be fixed. Now to hopefully tie it all together from us and give us a national perspective and let us know what's going on in Washington, I'm really pleased to ask Congresswoman Julie Brownlee to join us, and I really appreciate her coming out today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you all for being here today and for inviting me and to Gold Coast Transit for hosting this important transit and infrastructure event in support of America Public Transportation Association Stand Up for Transportation Day. We're all here standing up for transportation. It's such an honor to be here with you, and it is the greatest honor to represent Ventura County in Congress. I often tell my colleagues in Washington that I represent the most beautiful district in the entire country. As we all travel from Ventura to Ojai, from Oxnard to Camarillo, we have beautiful scenery, gorgeous coastal waters, picturesque sunsets, mountains and valleys, and lush agricultural fields and farms. Our support of open space, our agricultural heritage, our rich diversity of people and businesses throughout the region are what makes our county such a wonderful place to live and to work. This diversity and this open space and our unique geography also makes Ventura County's transportation needs a microcosm, quite frankly, for the nation. From a deep water port to our harbors, to rail, 3 airports, to the 101 freeway that connects the county from east to west, provides crucial goods movement, and serves as a vital commuter corridor, Ventura County's very character is intrinsically tied to its transportation infrastructure. That's why it is so important for me to serve on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. From the day that I was first elected, I fought to be on this committee, and that's why I am so pleased now to be able to serve on this very important committee back in Washington. This event is very, very timely and so important because our committee is expected to consider the next surface transportation bill for highways and for transits this year. Like many of you here today, every one of you. I believe that we must invest in America's infrastructure, and I strongly support federal investments in surface transportation infrastructure throughout the highway and transit trust funds. These investments, as every stakeholder already has said, creates jobs, reduces congestion on our roadways, and improves the quality of life in every community, not only here in Ventura, but across our great country. In my view, the next surface transportation authorization bill must address the growing backlog of transportation projects nationwide, bringing our highway, transit, and rail networks to, at a minimum, a state of good repair. Congress faces many challenges, but finding a solution for funding the highway and transit trust funds must be our top priority. Congress must work on a bipartisan basis to find a long-term and sustainable financing mechanism that works. All of you know that without long-term sustainable funding, we cannot plan projects for the future. It is critical. As many of you know, the Surface Transportation Authorization Bill, also known as MAP 21, which funds federal highways and public transit programs, is set to expire at the end of May. Because the federal government plays a vital role in the upgrade and repair of our nation's roads, bridges, and other surface transportation infrastructure systems, it is imperative that these programs do not expire or go unfunded or create another short-term fix. And since we are at Gold Coast Transit, I cannot emphasize enough our need to invest in our transit systems. Specifically, we must invest more in bus and bus facility programs, which are critically important to serving communities like Ventura County, where the many residents there are the only practical public transportation solutions. In Ventura County alone, nearly $3 billion in major infrastructure needs are unfunded, including $1.3 billion just for local streets and roads. It doesn't include what we've just talked about in terms of the 101 freeway and other important corridors. In order to meet this demand, Congress needs to act and pass legislation to authorize the continuation of these programs, and we must do it quickly. This is also a great economic benefit that comes with transportation infrastructure investment. It was already stated, but it's important to state it again, that for every dollar invested in transportation infrastructure, approximately $4 is generated in economic benefits. I can't think of another more powerful incentive to start working towards the next surface transportation bill that will keep Ventura County and our nation moving forward. As we begin this work, I look forward to hearing from all of you here today about your priorities for improving our transportation infrastructure system here at home. We are all here today because we recognize the importance of continuing the dialogue with all of the key stakeholders on the transportation future of Ventura County and how federal policy can help improve the transportation options in our local communities. It is only through this dialogue that together we can best serve Ventura County. And I will say, at the federal level, all of you and every single transportation stakeholder across our country supports Congress moving forward with a long-term, sustainable mode and method of making sure that we have the right resources to invest in America's infrastructure. And I thank you again for for you being here. I thank you for the opportunity to stand with you, to stand up for transportation. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman Brownlee, for your great comments, and we know you'll be back in Washington fighting for us and pushing this issue. It's not just Ventura County, it is nationwide, and it's really important that something happens and that we get a bill in place. As the president of APTA, Michael Malanofi, has said, people have told him, well, we can do another short-term bill if we can't quite get this done, and that will be good enough. Well, good enough is not good enough. And it's really important that we focus all of our energies and efforts, and we support Congress as they try to move forward and get something done that gives us the knowledge and the ability to pre-plan, and allows Greg to get roads fixed, allows Darren to start on highway projects, allows Kristen to make sure that she can improve the port, and allows us to move forward and add service and expand our service so we provide better service to the rest of the county and all of our constituents. We hope to see many of you this fall when we break ground at our new facility on Auto Center Drive, and we'll hope that the Congresswoman can join us for that groundbreaking. And right now I'd like to invite you all upstairs to the conference room where we've got some refreshments set up, some displays. We can provide information about our new facility and the Grow America Act and some of the details of what's included in that, and watch the Amtrak trains go by. Thank you all for coming.